Our final game of the night, Greenville, South Carolina has all the makings of a dandy. South Carolina, the Gamecocks against the Golden Eagles of Marquette. And it's going to feel like a home game for South Carolina. Moments ago, in the locker room, Gamecocks head coach Frank Martin.
I've been telling you guys all year, man, all hands on deck. All hands on deck. Halfway through the year, we started talking about grab that rope and don't let that thing go. And you three seniors, last 4 years, they're worth it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Go take the ride, baby.
Let's
Go take the ride.
Probably going to be the calmest we'll see Frank Martin all night. Good to see they're eating healthy as well. A lot of fruit, PBJs, and they're all set. Our starting lineups, as you see the starting five for the Marquette Golden Eagles out of the Big East: Rousey, Wilson, Marcus Howard, the phenomenal freshman, Sam Hauser, and Matt Help. You got Dwayne Notice, P.J. Dozier, Sindarius Thornwell, the SEC Player of the Year, Mike Kotsar, and Chris Silva. I'm Brian Anderson with Chris Webber, and you hear what Frank Martin has to say. There is a date with Duke on the line. What's your feel for this one as we get started in our final game in Greenville?
I feel this is going to be an exciting game. Two teams equally matched that are going to go hard after each other. And talking to Coach Martin before the game, he said he expects his guys to be nervous. But he says, I'm going to remind them that we beat Clemson on this court last year, and I'm going to remind them that we earned it, and right now all they have to do is trust.
Boy, they have a great player in Sindarius Thornwell, Player of the Year in the SEC, all defensive team in the SEC. Basically, you're pitting one of the great defensive teams in the country, the best in the conference this year in South Carolina, against a high-powered three-point shooting machine that is Steve Wojciechowski's Marquette Golden Eagles. They led the Big East in points per game, three-point percentage, three-point makes. So something's got to give here tonight. And our final game is underway, controlled by South Carolina. And as you can hear, we are 100 miles from Columbia, and it is going to feel very pro South Carolina for this one.
Not often when you're in the NCAA arena and you see one of the teams and half of the crowd still standing, keeping the tradition at home, not sitting till they score their first bucket.
Dwayne Wilson kicks it to the corner. There's Rousey. He's one of the many options from behind the arc for Marquette. Bullet pass, help. The ball fake had it blocked from behind. P.J. Dozier, a legacy at South Carolina. And that's a travel. And as we typically see in the NCAA tournament, you start these games, you battle some nerves. And certainly South Carolina feeling at home here. They're just 104 miles from their campus. About an hour-and-a-half drive, and they could not be more thrilled to be back in the NCAA tournament. First time, Chris, since 2004.
And guys know how special this is. They know that they're doing something for their alumni, their schools, their peers. Exciting time right now, South Carolina.
Here's Wilson on the take. Can't get it to go, and it's a board by Dozier. Dozier gets it to Thornwell. Keep your eyes on zero all night long in white. He is a dynamic player. Dozier misses the three. And Marcus Howard. Matter of fact, the zeros on both teams are anything but. Howard just turned 18. He has had a great year in his freshman season in the Big East.
Howard, one of the special stories of the NCAA this year. You just mentioned it. Graduating early and leading his team.
Chris Silva cannot connect from close range. Steve Wojciechowski, Frank Martin, two coaches that are very good friends. As Rousey, oh, and count the basket. A three-pointer is good, and a foul, and a chance at a four-point play.
Pump fake once you get the defender in there. How about that with the left? Okay. I'll tell you what, that's the sweetest shot of the tournament already.
Oh, by far. Oh, what a great smile. What a moment for him. Andrew Rousey. He's a junior. Now, he played at UNC Asheville first, transferred in, sat a year, comes back. This guy was a scoring machine as a freshman in the Big South. He was the freshman of the year in that conference while a member of UNC Asheville. He ends up at Marquette, a bench player to start the year. He has come on and put him in the starting lineup, and it changed Marquette's path down the stretch. Wilson pulls down the board. South Carolina can't get one to go.
Thornwell misses that shot there. One of the toughest things about being in an NCAA tournament, can you take the first punch of your opposing team? And Howard says, well, can you take the first 2 or 3 punches, and let's see how you react.
Howard's let a three-pointer go. He missed it, but goes to the hole that time. He looks very comfortable just watching him in warm-ups. He's supposed to be a senior in high school, Marcus Howard. Graduated early so he could get into the collegiate game. Could have a foul on the floor, and I think they're pointing at Hauser. And that'll be the first foul on Hauser, and the 2 terrific freshmen, and Hauser and Howard. And hard to imagine that Marcus Howard, who just turned 18 3 weeks ago, would be in high school right now, and he is on a big stage in the NCAA tournament.
Well, he shows the maturity of having to have the grades and graduate first, and exemplifying that maturity even more on this court by being the leader of his team, though he's the youngest.
Rousey and Howard at 2-point guard setup. Each will handle the ball. Here's Hauser, another terrific freshman, and a native Wisconsinite, and Hauser gets into the act. And for a freshman to see one go down early like that, that is big in an NCAA tournament environment, especially this particular environment. South Carolina needs a basket. They are now 0 for 6. And Thornwell will pull the trigger, and he knocks down the 3.
Helps to see that first 3 go in. It helps you settle down, calm down a little bit, get back to execution. Nice to see one go in for the Gamecocks.
Thornwell does it all. Scores, rebounds. He's a good passer. He's a great defender. Howard having a hard time shaking P.J. Dozier. And Wilson, nice little pass. Matt Helt can't get that one to fall. Twice Helt has had it inside with what looked like an easy basket, but not the case. And that's going to be a goaltend. Count the basket. And back-to-back possessions for South Carolina on the board.
You're going to see a sub come in here for Helt. Actually, Luke Fisher, the senior. But Helt has pump faked twice. You see the ball got on the backboard first, so that is a goaltending. But not faulting Helt for those 2 missed layups. He just has to calm down. You're in a position you haven't been in before. Very excited, decided to pump fake. But what a pump fake can do is allow the defender to get back in position and block it from behind. Frustration's okay as long as he just shakes it off.
Part of the story for Steve Wojciechowski. They had 5 games left. They're sitting at 6 and 7 in conference. He changed the starting lineup. He knew it would take 10 wins to make the NCAA tournament, and they got just that. They finished 10 and 8, Marquette. Rousey's been a big part of that. Here's Hauser. Long 3 is no good. And a chase for the ball, and that's going to be a foul on Rousey. He and Notice both battling for the ball. And Rousey's going to get hit with the foul here.
Yeah, this is a tough one right here because Rousey tries to hold his position while not having the ball. Marquette back on defense for the half-court set.
Early break for South Carolina, perhaps. Our officials tonight, Bo Borowski is the one that made that call. Mike Greenstein, Landis Poole. Three-pointer misses from Hassani Gravitt. Kate Reinhardt is in early for Marquette. He's another transfer. This is his 3rd stop. Rousey, no. And the board pulled down by Keita. A lot of changes early. Thunder turns it over. Keita's right there, so no turnover.
What a great pace in this game. Yeah. Both teams trying to get it up before the half-court defense gets set.
South Carolina, a fantastic defensive group all the way around. They cover every spot on the floor. Notice, good pass. And the lefty fires. Felder can't get it to go. It's Howard who will bring Marquette up the floor. Jawan Johnson in as well, started most of the year.
Howard has an advantage with the big man on the side. They finally recognize it.
And Howard now trying to shake Keita all the way in, kicks it. Another pass. Johnson for 3. Yes! Pretty ball movement there by the Golden Eagles.
The penetration of Howard. He saw that he had a mismatch, but what was most important, he didn't settle for a 3 just because a big guy was on him. What he decided to do, use his quickness against the slowness of the lateral quickness of Keita, finds the open guy. Great hockey assist.
And the true assist goes to Reinhardt, who is another 3-point threat. Rousey pokes it free, and now South Carolina looking at the clock. It is at 6 on the timer. Sonny Gravett taking on Howard, and it's going to be a foul on the freshman guard. Good start to this one. 11-5 Marquette. Back and forth they go, and some beautiful passing by Marquette out of the Big East. Jawan Johnson drops a three. A 6-point lead early.
And the madness continues from Greenville. It's game 4 here on TBS. Well, Marcus Howard of Marquette, what a great story this young man is. Graduating high school early so that he could be here in this tournament. I asked him why was it so important for him to get away out of school so far, and he said that he decided as a freshman he wanted to make the jump and graduate early to be able to be here. He took classes as a freshman and sophomore, then he moved on to Findlay Prep and off to Marquette as a 17-year-old. Now, he's been on 2 junior national teams, down to Argentina and Spain over the summer, won gold medals there. And he said that he learned so much, like playing on bigger international platforms. He improved his leadership skills, learning to be the head of the snake, developing those focal skills. And then his coach, Wojciechowski, who's cheering for him right now, has taught him how to play with poise, said he trusts me with my age, and he wants me to be myself and lead this team in these big moments right now. B.A.?
All right, Lewis, thanks. He's going to be a fun player to watch. We'll see how long Marquette can ride it out. Marcus's father is the strength and conditioning coach at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, which is an up-and-coming university. Yeah. Dan Marley's the head basketball coach. His father, Chuck Howard. Marcus's brother, Jordan, is a player at Central Arkansas. So he's got basketball in the blood. That's a nice setup for Luke Fisher. Fisher working inside. He's been a starter most of his career at Marquette. Coming off the bench now. South Carolina getting a nice 3-ball right after that timeout. Take you back to the passing of the freshman.
Well, this Marquette offense is #1 in points as far as in the Big East. And their assists, they're second with 16.5. This guy Howard, a big reason getting this big fella some easy buckets.
And then on the flip side, South Carolina led the SEC in steals, turnover margin, so they force you to protect the ball. And opponents' points per game at 64.5, the best mark in the SEC. Also had the best field goal percentage defense and the best 3-point percentage defense as well. And there's another answer. Sindarius Thornwell hits again, suddenly a 3-point game. Silva with a bucket as well. I beg your pardon, his first field goal. Live wire crowd here at a place they call the Well in Greenville, South Carolina. Penny Cheatham in for the first time. Reinhardt to Johnson, and a triple goes home for Jawan Johnson.
How about that? Hitting the backdoor cutter. He realizes he doesn't have an open shot. He continues to that corner. Knockdown 3.
Kochar gives it up. And we got a foul on the shot. Chris Silva on the take. He's fouled, and 2 shots coming for the big man.
Whenever you're denied cut back door, look at this. He cuts back door. Defensive help comes, draws him in. Corner drive, corner drift, knocks down the big 3 from the corner. Jawan Johnson.
Silva back-to-back possessions with the ball passing through his hands. And the first free throw is good. Hey, a reminder, you can watch live games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. Brian Anderson with Chris Webber, Lewis Johnson, our producer Scott Cockrell, director Matt Lipp. Great to have you with us in Greenville. And what a matchup we have here in this 10-7 contest. And Rousey with a long-range missile.
Let it fly, young man, let it fly. Rousey coming out ready for this first round game.
Marquette's already hit 4 threes. Rousey's 2 for 2. Thornwell answers. Little mid-range. He's got it all, too. Anywhere on the floor, Sindarius Thornwell can hit.
He looks like he's the SEC Player of the Year. #1 in points, averaging 21, but 6th in rebounds, 6th in 3-point percentages. Yeah, he has game.
Takes us to a timeout. Good pace early, just on the 12-minute mark. Rousey's hit 2, 1 lefty, 1 righty from behind the arc.
Adam Zucker in New York with this tournament update. On TNT, after trailing 10-0 and being plagued by injuries, Michigan State getting after it. Freshman Nick Ward has 11 points, part of 12 straight for Sparty. They're up 11. Winner gets Kansas as we go back to Brian, Chris, and Lewis.
All right, thanks a lot, Adam. Michigan winning earlier today. Miles Bridges and Michigan State. Bridges, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. That's a fun team to watch, and you know Tom Izzo will have them ready for tournament play.
Better attack the boards when you're playing against Tom Izzo's team. So tough physically and mentally.
Marquette with the basketball. They lead it by 5. Good start to this game in Greenville. And there's a pick by Dozier. Dozier picks it up all the way in, scores. A steal and a basket for P.J. Dozier, and it is a 3-point game now. South Carolina does that so well. They force turnovers. Rousey kicks. Here's Reinhardt now. This is badly. Oh, it is loud in here. Building that holds around 14,000. Notice. And that'll go out of bounds. And Marquette ball, and substitutions coming for Wojo.
Showing that South SEC defense that they're leading in, getting in the passing lanes. South Carolina has tough scoring droughts at times. One way you don't have those droughts, get in the passing lanes, get some easy buckets. They're 5th in the nation, 1st in the SEC.
17.3 turnovers a game they force. They get 7.8 steals per game. They're already at 3. A lot of dribbling by Rousey, and he dribbles it right out of bounds. That's going to stay in the possession of Marquette. Out of bounds, last touch by Notice. 14 on the shot clock. Frank Martin, the program builder. He did it at Kansas State and has done it here at South Carolina. Now in his 5th year. 4 NCAA tournament bids at K-State. First, South Carolina. Reinhardt was going up for a shot, and the foul is called on Dozier, and 2 free throws coming for Caden Reinhardt.
Dozier bailed Rousey out on that play that time. I'm sorry, Reinhardt out on that play. Didn't have to reach down. It moved laterally, kept his position, bailed him out the last second.
Transfer from USC, Caden Reinhardt, who delivered the Buick expectation-shattering performance of the day. You can tune in to Inside March Madness, presented by Buick, and find out. Well, it's been a terrific day of basketball all across the different regions. We are in the East region here in Greenville right now. Duke winning earlier today, and they await the winner of this one, Marquette and South Carolina, as Reinhardt hits 2 free throws. The Gamecocks started 0 for 6 from the field. They have made 6 of their last 8 from the field. Dozier. And had it poked away. And I think it's off the leg of Dozier, they say. And that'll be Marquette ball. Turnover forced by Wojciechowski's Golden Eagles.
Great energy right now by Marquette on the defensive end. See if they can sustain that for the next 10 minutes going into half. South Carolina tends to wear opponents down with their defense.
Wilson trying to turn the corner, gives it to Fisher. Fisher with a left-handed jump. Wow, that is impressive. Little left-handed jump hook for Luke Fisher from Germantown, Wisconsin. Started his collegiate career at Indiana with Tom Crean. Thornwell, that's a tough cover for Hauser. Rousey comes over to help. And Kotar now short. Thornwell wave it off. No basket, going the other way. Offensive foul on Thornwell. Thought he had a putback bucket. Instead, it's Marquette ball. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, it's a tough call right there on Thornwell. You don't know whose back that he went over on that play, but that's why if you're a Marquette player, you box out, you try to murky that water up in the paint so that the refs are in a tough position, but tough one right there if you're Thornwell. Not a good call.
First foul on Sindarius Thornwell, now a senior. There's a lot of South Carolina pride with the Gamecocks. Here's Reinhardt for 3, turns and hits. Peyton Reinhardt, quick off the dribble, creating his own space. And the Marquette faithful trying to outshine those in South Carolina. 10-point lead, Golden Eagles. Here's our tournament summary. The #1 seeds advancing easily. Nova, UNC, Kansas, Gonzaga. Average margin of victory is 29. We saw North Carolina beat Texas Southern by 39 here earlier today. Lower seeds winning the first round. Wichita State, USC coming from the first 4. Rhode Island, and another Hurley in the NCAA tournament. 26-16, Marquette on a 7-0 run. They've opened up their biggest lead. South Carolina ball, playing in what feels like a home game for them in Greenville, South Carolina. And a matchup of the best defensive three-point team in the SEC against the nation's top three-point shooting team in Marquette. It's not that they shoot a lot of threes, they make a lot of threes as well. There's a three-point hit by Justin Mackey.
Frank Martin employing his team back on the defense. One of the benchmarks for this team, they're 16-1 when they out-rebound their opponents. That's one, as you see, the nice backdoor cut and the finish right there by Wilson. But another one of their benchmarks, and whether he was at Kansas State, taking his team to the Elite Eight, or whether it's his first appearance here, when his opponents shoot under 40%, 16-1 again. Defense, rebounding, calling card for Carolina.
And there's a little defense there as Thornwell with a steal. Notice. Sends it inside to Silva. He got deep, and turnaround, no. And Silva comes away with the offensive board. And Thornwell will set it up. It's a good matchup to watch inside with Fisher and Chris Silva banging away at each other early. Notice hits. Back-to-back threes for South Carolina. First it was Mackey, now Dwayne Notice. Couple of seniors getting South Carolina right back in it.
Carolina, who has trouble scoring at times, you don't want to give them confidence, believe it or not, on the defensive end. The guards pounding the ball punch.
Marcus Howard back on the floor. Patient point guard, almost had that one stolen by Thornwell. And that'll take us to a timeout. 7:34 remaining in this first half, and the three balls are starting to fall for the Gamecocks. 6-point game.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Marriott, Northwestern Mutual, and by Buick.
Oh, feels like the big dance. Final game of the day here in Greenville. Watching the big dance calls for big refreshment, so grab a delicious ice-cold Coca-Cola and enjoy the game. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. Brian Anderson, Chris Webber, Lewis Johnson with you from the Well in Greenville, South Carolina. It'll be Marquette ball here, 11 on the shot clock as they resume this possession. Down 6 is South Carolina. And Dwayne Wilson gets it inside. Shot clock expires. Give Thornwell the credit there. Great defense.
Although Marquette has the lead, it seems like momentum is with South Carolina right now. Marquette has to get back to executing, getting some open looks. South Carolina's defense creating havoc on both ends and taking a little bit of the rhythm away from Marquette.
Marquette already with 5 turnovers. Turn it over on average a little over 12 times per game. Dump it inside. Silva with a left-handed jam.
When you play defense like South Carolina, you will always have crowd on your side. Why? The crowd appreciates the little things. Well, they're going to have this crowd on their side no matter what.
Here's Rousey. And a miss on a 3. Thornwell the rebound. Thornwell's trying to push it. Thornwell. And it's blocked from behind by Reinhardt. Well, this game's got great energy, great feel to it. The urgency is there. You can sense it. Dozier almost lost it right into the hands of Silva. That's going to be a foul on the floor. No shot. Silva's been a beast.
Thank you guys upstairs. I love watching these plays, and I know our fans do as well. Look at them. These guys are with me. Nothing like a body-to-body flush, making a poster to put back in the dorm for your fellow students. Marquette can't afford to get on the high side of the big fellas. Silva too strong.
They put 2 fouls on Luke Fisher, so he is out. Matt Helt is in, wide open. Dozier dunks a two-handed jam on top of Johnson. 2-point game.
Sorry about that. Coach Wojo trying to calm his players down and let them know, wait a minute, guys. It's okay. We still have the lead, though it may not sound like it in the arena. Marquette needs to get a great shot, execute, find their open teammate.
10-2 run for South Carolina. Double team comes. Wilson in trouble. Can't shake free. Gets it to Hauser. 3-point is up and in. And a silencer from Sam Hauser.
Great shots beat great defense sometimes. And just South Carolina, you'll take that all day.
Good pass. And it's poked away from behind. That is off the thigh of Notice. Turnover, South Carolina.
Jawan Johnson knocking it off the offensive player's hand. But here, this is what you see. This is what you want to see. Dozier going up for the strong dunk.
You got to help me read this crowd a little bit, C-Web. It feels South Carolina, but after that 3 by Hauser, now Marquette travels well, but I think there are a lot of Duke fans in here that are Wojo fans.
It does seem like it is 50-50 in here. A little bit of Duke helping out Marquette. Giving them something to appreciate.
Duke played in the game prior to this one. Had an easy win against Troy. Here's Silva. I tell you, Silva is off to a nice start. 8 points. Give Notice the assist. Frank Martin talking about Chris Silva. He said he is our key. There's a lot of attention to Thornwell, and rightly so, but we have to have Silva down in the block. He does so much for us on both sides of the floor. Rousey with Notice on him. Finds Hauser. Another open 3 coming. In and out it goes. Big Mike Kotsar pulls the board down. Thornwell looking inside. Bad pass. I think Silva lost his footing a little bit and couldn't get off the ground. And South Carolina turns it over.
Silva doing a great job inside, getting position, keeping a low center of gravity while keeping his available free hand up to let the passer know which hand he wants to hit. That time, just miscommunication.
4 turnovers apiece. Frank Martin's going small here. Ken Felder will take over for Kotsar. Help with the board. Here's Wilson rising up. He can't hit it. Felder finds Notice. Thornwell with the offensive board. Thornwell going strong to the hole.
I think this is a South Carolina crowd.
I think you're right.
But Marquette is used to playing in a tough division, in a tough conference. But right there, the tough trip. The big fella not waiting for the guard to come off. Rousey coming off the foul.
Our 10-7 matchup, Marquette and South Carolina. As you take a look at the numbers, the game summary, the 3-point story is significant early. Big wins for these 2 programs. For South Carolina, wins over Florida. They beat Michigan. They beat Syracuse. For Marquette, they took 2 from Creighton this year. And C-Web, they beat Villanova at home in late January. And maybe their signature win of the season until they get to this point.
So that just lets me know that this crowd here really doesn't bother them because they've already played against one of the best teams in the country already. They know how to execute when the pressure's on.
Big East Conference, terrific. 7 teams in the tournament. And Dozier coming out of timeout, fires one into the second row. Steve Wojciechowski's got a good lather going early. Everything but the floor slap right there for a former Defensive Player of the Year.
I was going to say, he coaches like he played. Intense.
It could set up a potential Marquette-Duke matchup if Marquette wins. And, of course, Wojo and Coach K. That would be quite a story. There's a lot of basketball to be played yet. Hauser, I've got a little walk. And he gets his own rebound, kicks it out. Rousey for 3. And that one's pulled down by P.J. Dozier.
Marquette being outscored by 8 inside the paint.
They're going to get a push on Rousey. I figured it had to go either way. It was either going to be a travel or a foul, and Rousey is called for his second foul. And that's going to mean substitution time for Wojo.
The difference in the game right now, though Marquette has the 4-point lead and actually should be happy with the way they're playing, is that they're being outscored inside the paint. South Carolina with 12, Marquette 4. Therefore, when you force the action to the paint like Dozier just did, it gives you a chance to get to the line.
And Fisher is on the bench with 2 fouls for Marquette. Can't hit on the 1-and-1. Under 3 minutes to go in this first half. Howard returns for Rousey. Johnson finds Howard. Oh, that's pretty good action right there. Howard found him, and then the return favor from Johnson in the corner. Another 3-ball for Marquette. Another whistle on Marquette. Check this out.
This is a tough shot right here. If I'm a Marquette fan, I love seeing this. If I'm a South Carolina fan, I say keep making Howard shoot those tough shots, but just a spoiler. And watching Howard shoot the other day, he knocked down 8 or 10 3-pointers in practice, so he's used to those tough shots.
Frank Martin with a stare down. Another foul on Marquette. Warning on Steve Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski does not care for the tight whistles, the tight calling of this game. And made it known and got a warning. So that's something to keep an eye on. Follow Bleacher Report on Instagram. Get the coolest sports content before anyone else. Join millions of others and follow Bleacher Report on Instagram right now. 1 out of 2 at the free throw line for Thornwell. Makes it a 6-point Marquette lead with the ball. 2.5 left in the first half. Very entertaining first half here in Greenville. Johnson, he'll pull a 3 with Thornwell in his face. Kotsar has Thornwell up ahead, but he didn't see him. And on the take goes Notice, scores. In transition, South Carolina gets a layup. Notice has 8 points.
The big fella Kotsar moving his feet out front.
And Reinhardt. And that's going to be poked away by Help. Now Reinhardt takes it. And he oh my goodness, the spinner off the window. I thought he was going to pass it to the corner.
Oh, you see the English on that. Great play.
Thornwell gets fouled on the other end. And Wojo is spitting mad over there.
Oh, man, we used to practice this in the backyard trying to be Michael Jordan. He finishes high off the glass, and you just love it. The confidence, the spin, the highlight.
Caden Reinhardt is in the NCAA tournament with his 3rd program. Went to the dance with UNLV and then USC last year. Thornwell hits the first free throw. Makes it a 5-point deficit for South Carolina. Well, who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, play the Capital One NCAA tournament run game on NCAA.com and in the March Madness Live app. Thornwell's got them both. 10 points for the SEC Player of the Year, Sindarius Thornwell. Crowd's been loud. They are up again. Wilson looking for help. And another takeaway. Marquette turns it over. That South Carolina defense is stifling.
The 5th steal for South Carolina. They're just so tenacious when it comes to on-the-ball defense.
And the floater in the lane is good. Dozier, the sophomore, makes it a 2-point game. Timeout. Minute 12 remaining in this first half. Almost at the half and coming up on AT&T at the half. Scores and highlights, the latest NCAA tournament news, all coming up AT&T at the half. 39-37 Marquette. The Golden Eagles back in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2013. The Buzz Williams version of Marquette went to the Elite Eight that year. Rousey gets Kotsar off his feet and a foul, and Rousey, who is a superb free throw shooter, will head to the line for 2.
Well, this is how you lure a guy in, put that worm on the hook. Big guys, we always go for it. We want to block every shot. Rousey, a great free throw shooter, says, you know what, I'll trade you this contact. I might be bumped up, shaked up a little bit, but I'll trade you the contact for these 2 free throws.
4th best free throw percentage in the nation this year. Andrew Rousey, 93%. We were reminiscing with Rousey yesterday as he misses the first. When he was at UNC Asheville, he played a game against South Carolina back in 2014-2015 season. He dropped 30 on South Carolina, but they lost the game because I'd give up any points to win the game. But you know, Rousey is going to be a factor today. He already is. Rousey with 8 points now as he hits 2 out of 3 from the line. And he will take a seat along with Hauser. Hanif Cheatham, formerly a starting point guard, now coming off the bench for Wojciechowski.
Every possession is so important. Marquette gives the look of a 2-3 zone, kind of an amoeba, and they do go into it. Look for them to trap the baselines and corners.
Looking for the middle. There's Silva working on help. Silva, a little lefty jump is no good, but there to put it back. Caught the air ball and scored the basket is Kotsar. Almost another turnover. Take Dwayne notice he's a handful on Marcus Howard. Howard goes to the hole, can't get it to go, and now South Carolina with the shot clock off. See if they want the final shot. Dozier trying to get to the hole, and now Kotsar wisely puts it in the hands of their best player. That one's up, no good. Offensive board notice. And Johnson takes it away. Got time. That'll count if it goes. Oh! Off the front iron. What an entertaining first half that was. Marquette by a point as we get to intermission. Lewis Johnson with Steve Wojciechowski.
Well, Coach, in some of those timeouts, you were talking about the value of every possession. How do you think your team did here in the first half?
Well, overall, I thought we did well. You know, I thought we made some really good connecting plays offensively. When we're rebounding the ball, we put ourselves in a good position, and we have to stop fouling. You know, I thought that really allowed them to regain some momentum is how much we were fouling.
All right, Steve, thanks so much.
Thank you.
10 fouls for Marquette, but they never trailed. South Carolina will head to the locker room at the half, down a point in Greenville. 40-39 will send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, the road to the Final Four. It's March Madness, Day 2, Round 1.
It is AT&T at the half. We love this matchup. Gamecocks, 5th best defense against the 3, 29% in the country. Marquette shoots it better than anyone else. So, Seth, it's not going to surprise you. Marquette early from 3.
No, that's why we love the NCAA tournament, because we get those contrasts and styles. It's not like Marquette playing in the Big East is not used to good, strong, physical defensive teams. They're just that good from three-point range. 8 for 16 in the first half.
Yeah, Rousey hit that one from like half court. Here's Reinhart, another three-pointer. P.J. Dozier from Sindarius Thornwell. The facial 10-2 run, but back more three-pointers. Marcus Howard in the end.
Marcus Howard from deep, shoots 54% from 3 on the year. But, oh, look at that reverse layup right there. Put the little English on and throw it off the glass.
Reinhart, the layup. He, in the first half, 2 out of 4 with 7 points in a game that is going to be really exciting here in the second half because you've got such a contrast. I've been saying that grappler versus striker, if this were a fight kind of a matchup, do different things butting heads. Coach, if you're sitting there at the half and you're South Carolina, usually so good defensively against the 3, getting lit up at 50% clip through the first half, what are you telling your team?
Well, you look at the highlights and you realize all those were contested threes. I mean, Marquette took and made tough shots. But I think Frank Martin goes in and say 50% from 3? Really?
I mean, we give up 8 threes in the first half, and we're only down 1. You know, I think Marquette will come out and guard better in the second half. Excuse me, South Carolina will. The question is, can South Carolina, they're halfway to 78. Can they get to 78? South Carolina, for them, had a pretty good offensive, you know, first half. So, I mean, Frank's going to focus on the defense. He's going to focus on taking away the 3 ball. Make Marquette beat us from 2. Don't let them beat us from 3. Make them put the ball on the floor.
You know, we talked about the balance. We're seeing it again from Marquette. I mentioned they got 5 players who scored double digits in scoring, and we saw it from a number, including Reinhardt, who made 2 really dynamic plays in that reverse that we saw at the end to give him the lead at the half.
Yeah, Reinhardt, he does a lot of things with his team. He can shoot the ball, but he also puts the ball on the floor very sneakily. That's one of the aspects of his game that's overlooked. He can put the ball on the floor off the bounce, make a couple of plays, as well as shoot the ball, and that layup was nifty.
Seth, when you're sitting there looking at second half, obviously for Marquette, you got the lead. You hit 50% threes, tough shots or not, you got to feel pretty good here if you're sitting there.
Feeling pretty good, especially when your center, Luke Fisher, only played 10 minutes with foul trouble. 2 fouls, though, so he's got a fresh, clean slate here for the second half. I think he's going to be a factor in the second half and help push them just over the finish line.
Will we see a Wojo against Coach K matchup? We know this. Haven't seen Bruce Pearl sweat today. They must have the studio thermostat set on ice.
Nice and cool. I like it.
We keep it chilly in here.
Second half coming.
Get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament on NCAA.com. The Women's Final Four is in Dallas, March 31st and April 2nd. Kaiten Reinhardt and the Marquette Golden Eagles using a little imagination and some deadly three-point shooting. They lead by a point. The final 20 in regulation coming up.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Degree, Samsung, Life, and by Powerade.
Marquette University Golden Eagles against South Carolina, and some of the images from these 2 teams this year trying to make a memory in the NCAA tournament. Back in the tournament, these 2 programs, the 10-7 matchup, the Big East and the SEC, and we welcome you back from Greenville. 40-39 Marquette. Let's check in with Lewis Johnson with head coach Frank Martin of South Carolina.
All right, Coach, what do you need out of this team in the second half to advance?
Well, we settled down a little bit and played a little better defensively coming down the stretch there. And then offensively, we got to keep attacking the rim. We got to attack the rim. We got to get more offensive rebounds. We didn't do a good job there.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, a defensive-minded coach, a defensive-minded team, and that's what got them here, Chris. They are, by all means, going to focus on that end. Marquette had 10 fouls in the first half as well.
They're aggressive, and Coach is not telling them to pull it back. He's telling them to go for it. Right now, 18 points in the paint. You heard Coach say you want to get it inside. That's where they live, 18-6 in the paint.
Three-point shooting, impressive for the Golden Eagles of Marquette. 8 threes. Their most is 11. Rousey and Reinhardt. This is the best three-point percentage team in the nation, Marquette. Take a look at our Degree first half stats. Marquette goes 8 for 16. South Carolina hit 4 threes. South Carolina defensively had 5 steals in that first half as well. Marquette never trailed. And we get ready for the final 20 in regulation in a 1-point game. It's interesting, Marquette now 4 three-pointers away from an all-time record in the tournament, and Travis Diener was part of that. That record was set. Diener went for 26 points. He made 5 three-pointers. That was the 2003 Marquette team that beat Mizzou to go to the Sweet 16, ended up in the Final Four. Of course, Dwayne Wade was the star on that team. He's seen this kind of shooting before.
Dwayne Wade, my man, you have to follow him on Twitter, and if you do, you'll see a bunch of pictures today with him in that Marquette uniform. But should we be surprised? Marquette leads the NCAA as we have a little clock problem. It didn't start on time. They lead with 43%. And just on cue, look at that young Dwayne Wade with the large jersey on, dreaming, pushing, and pushing his guys on. And D-Wade, if you're at home watching, it's some good news. You guys average 10.5 threes a game. You're already at 8. You guys are hot tonight.
No doubt about that. That was that Tom Crean-led Marquette team that went to the Final Four. And then it was Buzz Williams, and now it is Steve Wojciechowski in his 3rd year and his first trip to the tournament as a head coach. He had 15 of them as a player and coach with Duke.
And Coach Wojciechowski was talking yesterday just about how he feels that this is one of the most underrated programs, Marquette, when you talk about tradition. And he was giving love to those coaches and players that have been there before him. And he says that's how he recruits. Lets them know the great tradition of Marquette basketball, then it's hard to turn down.
Dozier gets the first shot up, and that's a putback by Silva. Flying high, and there is South Carolina's first lead of the game. 41-40 as we just get underway in this second half. And Rousey, a hot pass right off the head of Howard. Turnover, Marquette.
Even though you hear the crowd, it feels like a road game. Do not feel sorry for this Marquette team. These are some tough kids. They already beat Villanova. Those are why you schedule those tough games or through conferences have to play all year. Right now, Marquette just has to settle down, get back to their identity, moving the ball, quick pace, playing defense like they are.
South Carolina, their 9th NCAA tournament. It's been a long, long time since they won an NCAA tournament game. You got to go back to the 70s. And that is a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to Marquette. Yeah, by the way, I thought that was a tip-in by Kotsar. It was not. That was a soft rim.
That's Silva getting a tip in, and nothing better than soft rims around tournament time.
Silva down with 8 points. There's a steal. Kotsar this time gives it up, gives it right back, and scores. A steal. And in transition, South Carolina takes a 3-point lead.
Kids at home, you big fellas, get it to the guard. They'll get it back to you. You finish. Great job by the big fella.
Howard fires up a 3, and the freshman, cold-blooded, delivers. Not afraid. We see this all season long, every tournament the last few years, maybe decade or so. These freshmen come ready to play and not afraid of the spotlight. Cornwell. And he's saying he was bumped on the arm.
He was, but just like you miss a shot, sometimes a ref misses a call. Get back into play. Be there defensively for your team.
Howard gives it up. Fisher, little turnaround. In and out. Wilson with the follow. Marquette back on top. Wayne Wilson has some hops, and he was flying high in the lane for that putback. Notice, open for 3. And Rousey pulls down the board. Marquette wants to move it. Notice on Rousey, stops, and he pops.
That's what you want if you're Rousey. Why did he take a quick shot? Because it was a shot in rhythm. Marquette right now is not getting everything that they want against South Carolina in the half-court set. Therefore, put it up on yourself, speed the pace up, knock one down.
Dozier draws the foul. And Rousey hits him on the side. 2 free throws coming. 7-0 run for Marquette.
Must communicate. You must box out. Even though the big guys are embarrassed on this play, it actually was a guards man out top. Should have boxed out, checked this man before he leaked for the layup.
3rd foul on Andrew Rousey. Decision time here for Wojo. And it looks like he's going to make a substitution. Dozier can't hit the free throw. Dozier 0 for 2 from the line, and Wojo says, I got to take a seat. You got 3 fouls. We need you. Reinhardt in for him. South Carolina trying to win an NCAA tournament game for the first time, C-Web, since 1973. It has been a long, long drought. They finished 22-7 that year under Frank McGuire. 2 great McGuires led these programs. No relation. Al McGuire for Marquette. Frank McGuire in the heyday. As Howard goes to the hole, finishes with the left hand. That lane was wide open. Thornwell will stop. Pull-up jumper is good. Oh, what a pace we got going here in the second half.
Dwayne Wilson looks back at his teammates and says, hey, communicate. Don't let this guy just come down. He's the only one knocking down shots consistently. Short mid-range jumper.
And notice, and Howard, they're saying it, no, it is, they're going to call it over and back. I thought they called a deflection at first. I think the one official, Landis Poole, thought it was a deflection, but Borowski came in and said no, over and back.
I'm the first one to hold referees accountable, but I'm sitting here right on that line at half court and couldn't tell if this play action so fast the South Carolina's guards just pressuring Howard with the red turnover.
What it ends up being is the 9th turnover for Marquette, the 6th steal, or I beg your pardon, they have 6 steals and now 9 turnovers for Marquette. Dozier finds Thornwell. Thornwell hits the bottom. South Carolina squares it up, answering a 7-0 Marquette run. Thornwell's got 15, his second 3-point hit. Howard, the answer. That was a long 3-pointer early in the clock. Thornwell gives it to Dozier, and Dozier taking on Hauser. Foul, count it. And one. Timeout on the floor.
South Carolina speeding up the pace, giving Marquette some trouble. Getting in the shot in the court. Dozier. And one.
The second round begins tomorrow, noon Eastern on CBS. West Virginia and Notre Dame. That'll start at 5 Eastern. TNT has the NCAA Infinity Tip-Off Show. 8 games across CBS, TNT, and TBS. Over 12 hours of coverage. We got a dandy here in the final game in Greenville, South Carolina. This 10-7 matchup. Marquette the 10 seed, South Carolina the 7 seed. P.J. Dozier. And he cannot hit the free throw and can't complete a 3-point trip down the floor. South Carolina has outscored Marquette 8-2 since Rousey picked up his 3rd foul. Remember, Marquette had gone on a 7-0 run to regain the lead. Gamecocks never led in the first half. Marquette had a 1-point halftime lead.
Marquette 18 field goals, 9 of them are 3.
And Reinhardt with the shot clock at 3. Nowhere to go. Howard, step back, 3-pointer. And there's a shot clock violation. Check in with Lewis Johnson.
Well, Steve Wojciechowski reflecting back to my talk with him at the end of the first half, and he talked about the value of every possession. When in that last timeout, he was talking about making sure they take care of the ball, and he wants to make sure that the guys keep the ball moving. They've got great energy down on the Marquette bench in those timeouts. He's got his guys listening and believing. Now they're just trying to execute.
And inside, a block inside means free throws coming for Chris Silva. And they'll get Juwan Johnson on the foul.
Coach Wojo just wants his team to keep on playing. Sometimes as a player, you don't have a feel. You're just putting one foot in front of the other, kind of like what we talked about yesterday. But your coach has the full context. He wants that same effort from Marquette because he knows that all his guys have to do is get a few open looks, a couple hustle plays. Not only will they be in it because they are in it, but they can get a lead just that quick.
Hey, a reminder, the CBS Sports app is your app for the tournament. Follow your bracket, watch highlights, get instant team and upset alerts. Download the CBS Sports app now to experience every moment of the action. 2 free throws for Dozier. 15:07 left. Wojo's going to bring Rousey back in with 3 fouls. Martin will counter as well. He's got Mackey in the game.
Coach Martin just pulled notice to the side, and they had a subbing pattern, and the notice stayed in, and so Coach Martin letting his guys know we got the wrong guys in. Switch over.
Reinhardt. Oh, and another turnover. Mackey with a steal. Up ahead to Dozier. Timeout. Marquette. South Carolina with their tenacious defense turning into an 11-0 run over Marquette. Watching the big dance calls for big refreshment, so grab a delicious ice-cold Coca-Cola and enjoy the game. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. Marquette looking for an answer. Been an 11-0 run. Reinhardt for three. That ball is partially blocked. Thornwell got a hand on that. In the corner. On the take is Mackey. Gives it right back. And Dozier going strong. No. Thornwell gets the board. Kicks it out. Mackey will pull it up. The teardrop is good. 13-0 run for the Gamecocks. 8-point lead. And that'll be a foul on Kotsar. Fouling Hauser in the paint away from the ball. Frank Martin and his defensive scheme. He said he learned that and got that philosophy from his high school coach, Shaky Rodriguez, Miami Senior High School, back in the no shot clock days when they had 4 corners in play and he would have to play defense and cut off the passing lanes to get the ball back. And he's carried it everywhere he's gone. That's going the other way. Foul's going to be called on Mackey. And it'll be Marquette ball. Let's see.
That's Fisher taking up that space inside. That's what you want your bigs to do. You saw Coach Wojo asking guys to rebound, rebound, rebound. That's the part of the game that's missing right now for this team. Substance inside in the paint. Not only are they being outscored in the paint 28-18, but also losing the battle of the boards.
Marquette has that three-point firepower. Is it reliable in a spot like this? Johnson goes strong and is fouled. Jawan Johnson, senior out of Memphis. That is a big bucket for Marquette.
Johnson with the finish, and this is what Marquette needs to do. Get in the paint. Do not just rely on your three-point shots. You're 9 for 20, and don't get me wrong, that's a great percentage, but half of your shots have come behind the three-point line. That means South Carolina wants you to shoot those shots. Pump fake, drive to the hole, get the end one.
And the foul belongs to Chris Silva, which is his 3rd foul. And remember, that's the player Frank Martin said we cannot lose in this game. Foul trouble for Silva. 3-point possession for Marquette. Settles it down a bit. 5-point game. South Carolina has the lead.
Marquette goes into their 3-2 zone. Great for them defensively, but susceptible on the offensive board.
Kotsar kicks it across. Shot clock down to 9. Thornwell hits. He's money. Wherever he shoots from, if he's that open, he's money.
The benefit of the 3-2 zone is that you don't allow penetration, but you have to stop the big fella from getting it inside, because if he gets it inside, that's where he can pass to the corners and the wide open shooters.
17 for Thornwell, and got a foul, hand check.
Because Thornwell getting into the gap. You want to stop penetration, but the bigs still have to watch that big Thornwell come into the gap, because guess what else he can do? Pump fake and drive, or throw wide open to those corners to wide open three-point shooters.
Well, Kim Felder called for the foul, his 2nd. And Johnson having a tough time getting it in. Rousey, the escape route. 7-point deficit for Marquette with the ball. A little shake by Rousey, kicks it. Johnson wide open. And it goes, a soft rim. And Jawan Johnson the last couple of possessions. Makes it a 4-point game. Thornwell, a quick pop, no. And that looked out of bounds off of Howard. And that will stay in the possession of South Carolina.
You want to touch all the rim? You want to earn your 3 points the hard way? Johnson from the corner.
And by the way, Marquette with their 10th 3-point make in this game. 2 away from an NCAA tournament record. And there's a foul, I believe, on Johnson.
South Carolina, 16 points off of turnovers. That's been their bread and butter. Marquette, though, still in this, especially with their shooting prowess.
Big numbers in the 3-point range. Kotsar can't get it to go. He was close, trying to put a little spin. Johnson has done it all here in this last window. And Howard walks. Travel. Freshman ran into a wall in Mike Kotsar.
Kotsar has been everywhere today. Look at this baseline help. Kids, you know what this is. You work on this in shell drill every week. The big guy coming down, he didn't have to take the charge on that, held his position, caused the travel.
Notice looking for Thornwell. Johnson almost had a steal there. 12:20 remaining in regulation. Thornwell with Hauser on him, the freshman. Thornwell gets loose. Air ball. Fisher the board. Here come the Golden Eagles. Wojo says push it. Rousey thought about a three, and now Marquette will set it up.
Rousey able to get the defenders off their feet in the first half. Coach Frank Martin today, now in the second half, screaming, stay down, play position defense. Don't try to block Rousey's shot. You can't, and he'll knock it down to get the and one.
Johnson trying to go to the hole again. Oh, and a follow dunk by Fisher. Firm off the glass by Johnson. Luke Fisher with a two-handed jam. Felder answers. Rakim Felder with a three. 5-point game. Howard wide open for three. Oh, my goodness. What a pace. The follow jam. The three by Felder. The answer by Howard. Carolina by 2. Mismatch with Rousey on Thornwell. He's going to back him down. He spins over Fisher. Beautiful. That was pretty.
Thornwell not missing that one. You have to love it. And this time, as we just talked about players staying down.
Three free throws coming.
Wojo getting a little bit of warning. He's been out on the court all day. He's a player. He doesn't remember that there's a line right there. Doing a great job imploring his team to get back in it. Marquette getting back with effort.
Adam Zucker in New York with this tournament update. It just went final on TNT, but it was over a while ago because once Michigan State got going against Miami, the Spartans never stopped. Miles Bridges part of that big freshman takeover, and now they'll face Kansas. We go to Brian, Chris, and Lewis.
All right, Adam, thanks. And that freshman takeover is an important thought, accounting for 56% of their offense. Michigan State, they've got a squad, and they're going to match up against Kansas. 23 Final Fours and 5 national titles between those two storied programs. Rousey was fouled attempting a three. 3 free throws coming for the junior from Lexington, Virginia. He's been on a run, starting games. With 5 games left in the regular season, Wojo made the move, and it has been a difference maker. Transfer from UNC Asheville, and he gets fouls on threes a lot. He's already had a 4-point play. He converts all 3 free throws this time. Marquette is within a point. South Carolina with the ball and the lead. Under 11 to go in regulation. Felder turns a corner, and with the left scores. Rakim Felder.
Great help by Fisher that time, coming over for the help defense. A nice floater.
Never ceases to amaze me, the fearless nature of the freshman. Look at the moves by Johnson. Can't get it to go. Fisher trying to keep it alive. Dozier comes away with it. Notice gives it right back, and a two-handed jam. In transition. South Carolina by 5. Rousey playing with 3 fouls. He slips, he falls, he's out of bounds. It's a travel. Turnover, number 13.
Some great sportsmanship right there by Chris Silva, helping him get up as he slips off the floor. But you have to run for your teammates, even if the big fella wouldn't have gotten it. Would have been an open shot in the corner for a teammate. The strong finish.
Yeah, it looked like Rousey maybe clutching at his right leg a little bit. Not sure exactly what he's dealing with, but he's not right. And Wojo notices the wince of Andrew
Rousey. That we
Rousey.
talked about there. You never want to see a fellow athlete hurt. You want to win fair and square, not because the guy gets hurt on the floor. Great job there by Silva.
Clutching at his right leg on the bench. These are key minutes here for Marquette without Rousey on the floor now. Thornwell. Marquette's best defender, Dwayne Wilson, is out on him. Thornwell trying to shake him. Thornwell gives it up. Oh, he missed the dunk. Help was in his way, but Silva can't convert. Big stand by Marquette. Johnson to the hole, up and under, and a foul, count it. 3-point chance for Marquette. Jawan Johnson stepping up big here in the second half.
Jawan Johnson has been doing it all over the floor, not just settling behind that three-point arc where he can knock shots down all the time, but making sure that he gets inside. The and one on Silva. Silva gains his 4th foul. Johnson's changing the pace for this Marquette team, saying, listen, guys, I know we shoot a lot of threes. We're 11 for 22, but half of our shots are threes. Let me get to the hole to try to get to the paint in the and one. 8 points this half for Johnson, the spark off the bench.
The net on the other end after that missed dunk is a little hung up. C. Webb, why don't you run out there and tighten it up for us?
I can't even grab the rim today. I can't grab the net anymore. It's over.
All right, so Johnson will shoot the free throws. And he can't hit it. 3-point game. South Carolina with the lead. 9:20 remaining. Well, this has been a good one. 10-7 matchup. Greenville, South Carolina. 100 miles from Columbia and the campus of the Gamecocks. Notice goes right by Howard to the hole and scores a little floater.
Seems to be Notice's move. He loves the pump fake on the right side looking in. 2 dribbles, floater over any big guy that comes to contest.
And Howard trying to give it back. And we got another travel. So the freshman Marcus Howard with 2 traveling violations. A couple of turnovers here in the second half.
Look at this, the pump fake, get the guy off the ground in here. The nice floater over 2 bigs, and Howard, who's used to handling the pressure. We've already mentioned that he should be in high school, but it's not about being a high school senior. It's not about being a freshman. It's about playing against these Gamecocks that are one of the best defensive teams in the country, and they live on turnovers.
Well, we got a whistle here on Wilson of Marquette. So Steve Wojciechowski has Rousey back in the game. That's good news for Marquette. Apparently that injury not enough to keep him out. Howard sits. Howard with 5 turnovers, 4 of them coming in the second half. New shot clock for South Carolina. Lead by 5. Top defensive team in the SEC. And on the take, and another finish at the rim for P.J. Dozier. The kid from Columbia. The legacy. Rousey gives it to Help. Wants nothing to do with it. Rousey for 3. Thornwell the board. Gamecocks trying to stretch it out. Notice, no. Thornwell flying high. No. Kotsar with the board. His 3rd chance for the Gamecocks.
Smart play by Kotsar. Could have had the layup inside. Made a better decision to get it back outside to get a better shot for his team.
Under 8 minutes to go. 3-point try is up, and it is Johnson with the rebound. Johnson trying to go coast to coast, and it's going to be a foul on Sindarius Thornwell. He thought he got all ball, and so did this partisan crowd in Greenville. That'll take us to a timeout. Free throws coming for Marquette and Jawan Johnson.
Jawan Johnson attacking the basket. It could be a foul, it couldn't be, but put the ref in a tough position. Make him make the call.
Hey, don't forget, after all the games are over, Casey Stearns, Seth Davis, Brendan Haywood, and Auburn head coach Bruce Pearl have all the highlights and analysis on Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. It's only on True TV. What a game we have here for you. The finale from Greenville, South Carolina. 72-65, 7-point South Carolina lead. Jawan Johnson with a couple of free throws. He has been terrific in the second half. He scored 9 points in the second half for Marquette. Has 15 overall. And he hits them both. Quiets down the crowd for the moment.
Johnson also got some of South Carolina players in foul trouble, just being aggressive. I think his pace, his tempo coming into the game, Marquette has relied on that heavily. Him getting into the creases.
Chris Silva has 4. Nice pass. Thornwell denied by Fisher. And it's going to be out of bounds off of Marquette. That'll be South Carolina ball. 11 on the shot clock.
Fisher's a smart man. He got engaged on senior night. Hard to say no to a guy that pours his heart out at center court, so I'm going with him. And smart on that defense, coming over on the side, getting the block.
Fiance Peyton.
Congratulations to Peyton. I know she's probably somewhere biting her nails watching her fiance.
Orlandis Poole and Bo Borowski having a conversation here. And I'm not sure what this is all about. The call on the floor was South Carolina ball. And now Bo Borowski just coming over to check this now. Take a look at the three-point story. Marquette hit 8 in the first half. They had a 1-point halftime lead. And they've hit 3 here in half number 2.
And pretty great shot selection. You can't fault them. I mean, they have to let the 3 fly. They have guys that can knock the 3 down. It's just that you do not want them to fall in love with it, not taking advantage of other shots. Rousey trying to make an attempt to throw the ball off of the leg of the offensive player for South Carolina, but it went on the line first. Ref's doing a great job of just checking, making sure that was the call.
Might as well go in a game of this importance, but it was called correctly. Dozier dumps it inside with the left hand. Coach up, but he is fouled. Fouls continue to stack up. Mike Kotsar from Estonia in Northern Europe, the freshman at 6'10". He's been a presence. A couple of big free throws coming up. Now Rolling Stone calls Samantha Bee the best thing to happen to late night TV. You can watch Full Frontal with Samantha Bee all new Wednesdays 10:30 on TBS. Kotsar misses the first. He is a 41% free throw shooter. It is not a bad option for Marquette to have him on the line. And delivers the second one. 73-67, 6-point South Carolina lead. Marquette with the ball, approaching the 7-minute mark. Rousey with 3 fouls, gives it up. Fisher lost the handle. Another Marquette turnover, their 15th. Notice. Offensive board, another one for Thornwell. And a whistle. He stepped on the baseline. And it'll be South Carolina ball. I believe it was Wilson who was on the baseline and touched the basketball.
South Carolina rebounding by committee. That last play, it's 4 guys in there on the offensive boards. No guys trying to get back or leak out. His foot is on the line, but look at those 3 white shirts inside trying to get extra possessions for their team.
Just did get it in. Here's Dozier. Able to turn the corner. Ball's moving. Thornwell for 3. Yes! Sindarius Thornwell with a bomb from 3-point range.
And he looks at the court, points down and says, this is my court. Hey, you're this close to home, it is your court. That was just a heat check right there, letting it fly.
Johnson trying to answer. Oh, can't get that one to go. And a push on South Carolina. I think they're going to get Mackey with that. Mackey or Dozier. I think the point is to Mackey. And how about this 3-pointer by Thornwell for South Carolina's biggest lead of the game.
Marquette fortunate on the other end. That did not look like a push-off. It looked like a pretty good box out there by Mackey. But that's what you want to do, battle inside. Howes was saying, listen, I can get this ball too, but fortunate right there for Marquette. Maybe this can settle them down, let them get back into a groove offensively. But South Carolina is not letting up with the pressure.
Felder in for Mackey, picks up his 3rd foul. Hauser at the line. Sam Hauser has 9 points He's hit a couple of threes. Howard continues to sit. First points of the half for the freshman Sam Hauser, who's got a younger brother, Joey, one of the top prep players in Wisconsin right now at Stevens Point. Big free throws by the freshman, 76-69. It's a 7-point lead for the Gamecocks. Dozier looking for Kotsar. In there on Fisher, banging bodies, swapping paint. Kotsar scores with the jump hook.
So hard to take your time in the paint when you're not a good free throw shooter.
Rousey looking for a quick answer. That's an offensive board by Hauser. South Carolina just gives you nothing when they get in their half-court defense. And a foul, other way, offensive on Fisher.
That's a good call. Give credit to Notice for fighting over the screen. He could have ran into the screen and just stopped. And right here, Kostar, not a great free throw shooter. He knows he could be fouled, still takes his time, gets to that left shoulder what he likes, he prefers, and knocks down that jump hook.
All season long, all through the years at South Carolina, Frank Martin now in his 5th year preaching defense. The way we will get to where we want to get is on the defensive end. And it is all coming together here tonight at the NCAA tournament. 10th turnover they just forced this half by Marquette. Marquette's turned it over 16 times in the game. And the foul on Hauser is going to send Thornwell to the free throw line. 1-and-1 situation here for South Carolina. 22 and 11. Double-double number 6 of the season for the SEC Player of the Year.
I asked Coach Martin what was his key yesterday, and he told me that he will not let guys, he will not hide guys by playing the zone. That he wants you to be able to get to the next level. He starts every practice off with defense, one-on-one full court defense, shell defense, 2-on-3. 3-on-2. He expects his guys to always play at a high level when it comes to the defensive end.
There's a key few minutes here for Marquette. They are down 11. Do they have an answer against the stifling defense of South Carolina? Howard back on the floor. Fisher draws the double team and a bad pass. Rousey, heck of a play to save it. Rousey kicks it across. Reinhardt for 3. No.
South Carolina very fortunate that play. Rousey got 2 defenders up in the air and could have jumped into either one of them and got 3 free throws. South Carolina needs to stay on the ground when Rousey has the ball.
Inside, Kotsar. Now Felder calmly, patiently going to the hole, and he scores! The lefty. Rakem Felder, South Carolina, has got the hammer down on Marquette in Greenville. It is 82-69 Gamecocks.
You're living in this tiny booth, bunch of teams tied at the half with a mid-major school, and you don't want to miss a thing.
With DirecTV from AT&T, you can stream all your live NCAA March Madness games on your devices.
I forgot to get this validated.
Get DirecTV for $25 a month when you have the new AT&T Unlimited Plus plan.
Take a look at our game summary. The numbers, biggest lead for South Carolina. And you ask yourself in a spot like this, what would you rather have as a weapon? The three-point shooting weapon or the tenacious defense that South Carolina has? It is going to be tough to score on these guys.
Defense is what you came to the party with for South Carolina. You must keep that presence because no guarantee you can have a bad shooting night any night.
Here's Rousey, and the three-pointer is short. Grab it with the rebound, and South Carolina is starting to put the stakes in the ground, and they are starting to feel it here. Remember, they have not won an NCAA tournament game since 1973. And John Wooden and UCLA were making their run. Thornwell, the ball fake, steps inside, hits the mid-range. This guy's a killer right here. He is a closer for sure. 26 points. He's hit half of his shots, including 3 threes. Howard blocked by Thornwell. Thornwell wide out. Oh, and one.
Thornwell taking it inside. He knows his team hasn't been to the tournament in a long time. He's trying to guarantee a second game.
Let's take a look at the Capital One Cup impact performance. Sindarius Thornwell on display.
Yeah, Coach Frank Martin talked about this kid, 28 points, 10 for 19, but most importantly, Coach said that Thornwell had tendonitis and is so bad his sophomore year in his knees that he asked him to shut it down. He said, I thank this guy for coming. It's about our seniors. He chose South Carolina when he had other opportunities, and he said he's most humbled because this guy believed in his vision. As a coach, it's really cool to hear him talk about a player like that believing in him.
What a run for Thornwell, and he will exit this game delivering when it counted. That is a 19-4 run for South Carolina. Thornwell responsible for 10 of those 19 points and a number of defensive plays as well. 87-69. It has been a blitz by South Carolina and more defense to go with it. South Carolina in the tournament for the first time since '04. Finished 12-6 in the SEC. They lost to Alabama last Friday in the SEC tournament. And it's a hit from Hassani Gravett. Hasn't played much tonight. What a flurry for South Carolina.
Now when your offense needs a three-point shot, it's so hard to get one against South Carolina, who extends the pressure out on the floor anyway, forcing you to go inside even though you need the three.
Luke Fisher, no. Well, this is turning into a victory lap right now for South Carolina.
This is the way Coach Martin wants his team to play. Downhill, when you put defense as your first priority, usually you do go home.
17 turnovers for Marquette. That is their season high. Ties the season high. They had 17 in a game against St. John's at Madison Square Garden earlier this year. As advertised, Dozier fires a three and hits it, and why not? Wow, what a blitz. And they cannot wait to celebrate here in Greenville. NCAA tournament record program history with those 92 points as Fisher scores the basket. Alex English, he was on that 73 team. The last time South Carolina won a game, they beat Southwest Louisiana that year. That roster included Mike Dunleavy Sr., Alex English, Brian Winters, Danny Traylor, and their leading scorer that year was Kevin Joyce. Averaged over 20 a game. That was a proud program under Frank McGuire back in the 70s. And C-Webb, it has been a long, long drought.
It has been a long drought for the South Carolina team, who has been inconsistent at times with their shooting, more than consistent with their defense. I knew they had to have a good luck charm here tonight. Alex English, one of the best shooters to ever do it, here supporting his team.
Well, since the tournament expanded in 1985, South Carolina with that 0-4 record in the round of 64. Dozier, 22-point lead. This was a one-point game at the half. Marquette led. Marquette never trailed in the first half.
11th steal right there. 17 turnovers, 11 steals. I'd call that defense, and when you stretch it out by half, defense is always consistent, even when your shot isn't. South Carolina making the most of it in the second half.
Plus 24 after being down a point. What a performance by South Carolina. It's an incredible resurgence of this program. Shot clock expires. And talking to Frank Martin, you know, he has 7 players that are within a 3-hour drive of Columbia, pushing the name on the front. The state school, South Carolina. And the biggest sell was early in these seniors with Sindarius Thornwell. And he made the comparison to Thornwell to Jadeveon Clowney, who was starring at the time for the football team. And he said, Sindarius, you can be the basketball version in South Carolina of Jadeveon Clowney, who went on to be the top pick, first-round pick. And he bought it. He stayed home. Thornwell's from Lancaster, South Carolina. Wasn't sure if he would be able to see an NCAA tournament win. But South Carolina is going to be moving on. And Thornwell is a big reason why. 29-11.
And for you fans at Marquette, the future is bright. I know it might not be hard to see it right now. Fisher giving it his all, leaving it all there. But how about the freshmen, Howard, Hauser, others? This Marquette team, this Marquette squad is in a good place for the future.
Now Fisher playing his final game, the senior. Got to come back home and play in his home state. And when that reality sets in, that's the other side of this. That win or go home mentality. The elation to advance. And Fisher and Caton Reinhardt knows it's coming to an end as well. It'll be his final game as a collegiate player.
Let it out, big fella. It's okay. You earned it. Many people can't cry because they didn't put the work in. You put the work in. Go ahead and shed the tears.
But South Carolina will bathe in this. And now they are going to get a home crowd feel against the Duke Blue Devils on Sunday. The 7th seed, South Carolina, advances. They have won it, and their first NCAA tournament win since 1973. What a moment. Consider this program revived at this point. This was a 3-point game with 9 minutes left, and it turns out to be a South Carolina blowout. 20-point win, and now a matchup with the red-hot Duke Blue Devils. Sindarius Thornwell, 29 points, 11 boards. He made 3 threes, had 3 steals, 2 blocks. Thornwell scored 19 in the second half. That's going to be a great matchup. Duke and South Carolina, second round in the East region. 20-point win for South Carolina. Tournament continues live now on True TV. Kent State and UCLA are going at it. For Chris Webber, Lewis Johnson, and the rest of our terrific crew led by Scott Cockrell in the truck and director Matt Lipp. I'm Brian Anderson saying good night from Greenville. We'll send it to the studios right after these messages. The Gamecocks advance.